Hey guys, I'm starting this early. Welcome to Bobcat Corner Live. This is just going to be a short thing, a short post game show stream. Hope everything is coming together good with the visuals, video, and just got a webcam not too long ago, a new one, uh, to test out some more things. And hopefully, I'm coming across okay with the audio. So, without further ado, let's just get started here. Uh, this is the regular season opener for the Ohio Bobcats. They traveled to Syracuse, New York, to the JMA Dome. And as you guys could tell if you were watching that game today on August 31st, it got noisy. It was such a noisy place to play in. And as far as that goes with the environment, the Bobcats did what they could, did everything they could to handle that with the noise factor. And as you can tell, let's just jump right to it. Final score says Syracuse 38, Ohio Bobcats 22. And that does not surprise me because, as I've been telling you guys, this last few weeks, especially at a previous episode of Bobcat Corner, I made like predictions, guesses as to how the schedule was going to shake out for the Bobcats, and I did have it down as an L for the Bobcats in this regular season opener against against Syracuse Orange. I wasn't surprised by the final result. I was not surprised by that. Um, I mean, as you could tell, things just got out of hand at some point. But if I can start out with the positives, and I do believe there are some positives to take from this game. Uh, let's start with the first quarter. The first quarter I was very pleased with, and the first quarter of this game went much better than even I thought it was going to go. And it seemed like Syracuse was getting off to a really slow start for some reason on both sides of the ball, which kind of surprised me because I thought the Orange they were just going to get right off and running, from the very start of the game. That wasn't the case. The Bobcats, they, for the most part, the Bobcats managed the first quarter of this game well, and that was a surprise. It wasn't a surprise. Uh, the score after one quarter, just one quarter, was 6-0 Bobcats. So after that, it was like, okay, it was a good start. We're off and running to a good start. This is pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, I was getting a little bit optimistic about where we were headed in this game. And I have some notes recorded here from what I saw of the game. First off, another good thing that I can note is that our running game has great potential. Even now with what we have with Ricky Hunt Jr. and most notably in this game, Anthony Tyus III. And I would like to issue an apology concerning Anthony Tyus III. When I was listing off all the running backs that we had on our roster, I had no idea who Anthony Tyus III was. And I just want to issue an apology about that because Anthony Tyus III, he did so well in this game. Um, I am definitely now sold on Anthony Tyus III. I'm definitely on that bandwagon. I'm jumping right on that bandwagon of Anthony Tyus III. Great running game from him today. He was amazing. Anthony Tyus III. He transferred from Northwestern to the Ohio Bobcats, and what a great pickup that was. So there's that. And Anthony Tyus III, his stats for the game: 16 rushes for 203 yards, and he scored 2 touchdowns. Hey, you can't argue with that. That's great stuff right there. And I saw at points throughout the game that Anthony Tyus III, he was seeing the field very well. He picked his spots. He saw the holes and he ran right through them. He did good. I mean, I can't complain about that. It's like he had a big run uh, towards like the 2 minute warning of the first half, second quarter, and he had like a big like run there, which led to like a Syracuse penalty, and that was another thing. Syracuse, they committed quite a few penalties in this game, which was not something I was expecting. I was expecting a more disciplined Syracuse team, to be honest with you. So the fact that Syracuse kept, especially on defense, they kept committing so many unnecessary penalties at some points. I was like, what is Syracuse doing? But at the end of the day, it did not hurt them that much. So, but yeah, Anthony Tice the third, great game from him, great running game from him. He had a 13-yard touchdown run third quarter, 46-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter. Both were great, great plays by him. Great. I have nothing but good things to say about the running game uh, for the Ohio Bobcats. They did great there, no doubt about that. Great job with the running game. And the first quarter in general, I would have to say the first quarter in general was a good start for the Bobcats. I can at least say that I enjoyed the first quarter. Okay, so yeah, um, so I mean there are some positives to take from this game between Ohio and Syracuse, but I do want to get to a couple of the negatives, a couple of the things that just didn't sit well with me. I just did not agree with, and that was particularly the play calling once we got to the red zone. Um, the play calling in the red zone, it was just very questionable at best. Um, Especially at one point where the Bobcats got deep into Syracuse territory. It was like they got to like the 5 yard line at some point, and once again, Anthony Tyus the third, he was having a great running game, and that was the point where the Bobcats should have just given him the ball more, like three designed runs, and Anthony Tyus probably would have scored a touchdown from that. Um, if we converted some scores into touchdowns instead of field goals, we would have been talking about a different game, quite possibly a different game for the Bobcats here. But that's how it happens. That's how it happens in football. You can't really predict these things. You may make your best educated guesses, but you can't really predict what's going to happen. So yeah, a negative was just the red zone play calling. Some of the play calls that we ended up making down there in the red zone, it wasn't clicking. I mean, I understand from uh, from a general standpoint, I understand that you want to get your quarterback going. Parker Navarro, great mobile quarterback, uh, still has great potential, obviously, and I understand that you want to get him going, but you got to roll out the quarterback so you can make key throws on the run. Totally understand that. But if you know that you have the running game going, like we did have in this game, then you got to keep going to it. You got to keep going to the running game. You got to keep going to your running backs. And I think that was like definitely one of the few negatives that I can take from this game is that we had the running game going, but we just kept going away from it. That was an issue. So, especially in the red zone, we had to show toughness in the red zone, and at certain points, we just didn't do that. So, again, I understand that you want to roll out your quarterback, you want to get out in space and make passes to the end zone. I get that. But if you have a running game going, you should use it. That's just how I feel. So yeah, there's that, and like I said, the first quarter was great. I mean, I'm very pleased about the first quarter and putting emphasis on that first quarter because the second, third, and fourth quarter, not so much. Once once the second quarter got started, I could tell that Syracuse was waking up, and once Syracuse woke up, they stayed awake and they just got going. And I noticed very much so during the second quarter that Syracuse they played more of an up tempo kind of style. They played the very sped up version of football on the offensive side of the ball. On offense, Colin McCord. he had all day to throw, basically. Very little, for the most part, very little pressure was put on him. And when you give someone like Kyle McCord enough time to throw, guess what he's going to do? He's going to throw deep and he's going to throw often, and that's what he did. I believe he saw the field very well, and I believe that when you give someone like Kyle McCord time, he's going to make plays. And unfortunately for the Bobcats defense, they just did not get enough pressure on their quarterback, and Colin McCord made them pay, basically. So that was the key story there, and it goes back to what I was saying when I was reviewing the offensive and defensive lines for the Bobcats. Is that most of these battles are won in the trenches, and it proves my point again. Is that you have to win on the line of scrimmage in order to get to where you want to go, both offensively and defensively. Defensively, from what I could tell, Syracuse was getting to our quarterback, Parker Navarro, uh, often. And our defense, we were just not getting enough pressure on the board. We just weren't. And that's just it. If you don't win in the trenches, there's a good chance you're not going to win the game. That's just it. And Syracuse, they have talent. They're an ACC team. Totally understand that. So there you go with that. And speaking of Kyle McCord, former Ohio State quarterback, now Syracuse quarterback, he was 27 of 39, threw for 354 yards. That's my point. And 4 touchdowns. He threw one interception and he got sacked once. But again, not enough pressure on him. And in comparison, Parker Navarro, Bobcats quarterback, he was 18 of 30 for 181 yards, no touchdowns, threw one interception, and he got sacked 5 times. Syracuse on defense had their way. They got to Parker and they got to him often. So that's how you summarize that. And yeah, the final score says it 38-22 Syracuse over Ohio. And want to highlight a couple more Syracuse players. Wide receiver Aronde Gadsden. Aronde Gadsden the second. He was all over the place. The Bobcats secondary, they had no answer for him. He was running all over the place. He was running his routes, running them well. He was catching the ball. He had 7 receptions for 108 yards, 1 touchdown. And also wide receiver Trevor Pena for the Orange. He had a 20-yard touchdown reception before the half. That was critical there. And overall, he had 6 receptions for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. Again, the Bobcats secondary, they had no answer for Pena. So I could tell, in some aspects, this is going to be a long game for us. So I kind of had that in the back of my mind. That's how it was going to go for us. But let's go back to a positive. From a mental aspect, from a mental standpoint, I like the fact that the Ohio Bobcats, they just did not quit. Yes, the score says 38-22, but there were times where the Bobcats tried, and keyword there, tried to keep it close. They did not get down on themselves. They didn't quit. They kept fighting, and that's a good sign. Definitely a good sign. They kept fighting, and especially with the fact that they had lost so much talent, so many players this past offseason to the transfer portal, and also some players went pro and graduated. This was a very admirable and honorable performance from the Bobcats, all things considered. When you consider everything that went up to this game, for our first game, obviously there's some things to clean up. Parker Navarro as quarterback, great mobile quarterback. He knows how to run, but he does need to work on passing game a little bit. And compared to Kyle McCord, Parker Navarro did not see the field quite well enough. But as time goes on, he's gonna adjust. He's going to make plays. I have no doubt about that. So, yeah. Key thing to remember here, guys, is that this is the first game. This is the regular season opener, and yeah, you can't judge an entire season by one game. There will be better games ahead for the Ohio Bobcats this year. I'm very certain of it, and there are some positives to take. And yeah, so in summary, I believe we really ran the ball well in the first quarter, but second, third, and fourth quarter, it was pretty much Syracuse the entire way. Once Syracuse woke up, they stayed awake, and that was that. So yeah, if you guys have any comments after this stream, feel free to leave your comments below. I just wanted to get here to just review this game for you guys so that you can take in uh, what what went on between the Bobcats and the Orange. So yeah, and also a couple other things. There were like a couple injuries that occurred during the game, specifically Bobcat injuries. Uh, Reese Collier, linebacker, and then safety Jeremiah Wood. I think it was in the second quarter. Both these guys went down due to injuries. It Neither one looked serious, but it's just something to keep an eye on because it's like hamstring related. It could be just cramps or it could be something else. We don't know yet. So I'll keep you guys informed about that when it comes to injury reports and stuff like that. But yeah, at some points also it got physical. Syracuse obviously has the horses, so to speak, in talent. There's no doubt about that. They play in the ACC Power Conference. I mean, it stands to reason. And yeah, I mean, overall, it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like a 40, 50 point deficit or something like that. It was 38-22, 16 points. So when you factor that in and you see all the highlights after this game, you'll know that the Bobcats tried. They gave it, they gave it their all. They tried what they could. And obviously, it didn't play out the way that the Bobcats would have wished, but hey, it happens. It's football. So yeah, just one more thing about Colin McCord. I do think he's a legitimate quarterback. He's serviceable enough. When you give someone like him time to throw, he can throw the ball well. And I guess I just don't understand why Ohio State Buckeyes fans were so hard on him last year. I'll never understand that. But Colin McCord, he did well here. He had a great game, in my opinion. And yeah, just definitely a learning experience that the Bobcats need to pay attention to when they take notes on this game. Red zone play calling's got to improve. I think it will. Just something to learn from. And when you know something's working, you stick with it. You don't go away from it. And I think that's what really hurt us is that we just didn't stick to running. When we were deep in the end zone, we just stopped running. And I don't understand that. The play calling was very questionable down the red zone. But yeah, for the most part, we were disciplined except for like one penalty late in the game. But we ran the ball really well. Um, Also, Coleman Owen, shout out to him, wide receiver for the Bobcats. He had 10 receptions for 137 yards. I want to make sure I get that in. Coleman Owen, he did great there. And it was also nice to see Duncan Brune, uh, running back, who ended up seeing some playing time on special teams. He returned some kickoffs, punts. So that was nice to see. So, yeah, overall, I think that the Bobcats will get better. This was a loss. I kind of expected this to be a loss, but you never know. But hey, it's not something to get so worried about. I'm not going to worry about it. I think there are some positives to take from. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. This was just a post game recap stream here. Just want to get this in, wanted to test this out, see how everything is. I'm going to be paying attention to the video aspect of this, the visuals here, because I know seeing some glitches here. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Did any of you guys watch this game between Ohio and Syracuse? Did you watch the highlights? What are your thoughts on the stats? for all the players involved in this game. And yeah, we got a lot more football to go. 11 more games for the Bobcats to see what's going to happen here. So yeah, this was Bobcat Corner Live, episode 1. And I'm going to try to keep this up throughout the regular season, see how it goes. Just let me know what you guys think. Hope you all are having a good day today or good night, wherever you're at. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.